I was raised in a broken home. And next month I will be happily married for 38 freaking years.
Wow.
Amazing.
38.
1994, people had more morals than. I don't know. I just, that is the case.
Because you weren't looking at so
Yeah.
much other stimulation.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
you could go the entire day and never see a woman's cleavage. Now you've seen 7 asses by the time you've checked the morning email. I was born in Long Island, New York in 1965, because actresses don't like to say how old they are. But when you have a skincare company, it's kind of a flex. It was important for me to have the 20-year-olds know that 50 should not be feared. I don't have any aches or pains. It's 100% from being a Scientologist, right? Accidents can happen, but how great is it that you are in control of that? All the happiness you ever need lies in you.
Okay, guys, today I have a good friend of mine, Denice Duff, okay? So Denice, by the way, is the original D-Nice.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Because her name is actually spelled with a C, like D-Nice, like actually. So the original, it predates the one that you know of, okay, D-Nice. So anyway, she is the founder of In Your Face Skincare, which, as you can tell, she is very in your face.
Oh, gosh, I started right off.
Yeah, she's in it. She's been on this company, which is relatively new, right? It's not even how
Well, we're like 6 years old.
6 years old. Okay, the last 2 years has been on the Inc. 500 or the Inc. 5000. So last year, or 2024, number 428, the fastest growing company in the United States. That's pretty amazing.
That's
well done.
It's weird for me to say, but it's true.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, she is an actress who has been on series that I don't recognize, but apparently are big.
Oh, no.
No. It's called Matlock. You know Matlock? I don't know Matlock, dude. Okay. But CSI Miami, Young and Restless, okay, dozens of national commercials, and the lead vampire.
I recognize
You know
the
Matlock?
shows.
Matlock.
Which one?
Vampire Diaries?
No, Matlock, dude.
Oh, no, sorry. I
So,
know CSI
okay, so
Miami.
there you go. See, but it's okay. It's all good.
Matlock is so old that now there's a new remake with a woman instead of Andy Griffith as the man.
Wow.
But no, Matlock has been around so long. I get screenshots from, like, I want to say old women like my age in their 60s, 70s, and they're like, "You're on the TV right now." You know?
Nice.
So it's
amazing.
it's so sweet. It's so sweet.
That's beautiful. So, and lead vampire in the Subspecies series.
Oh yes. People pay for my autograph.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I agree.
It's crazy.
So you know what? Luckily, you came here pro bono, so I'm very happy. Okay.
Wait, what? I want a foamer. I need a coffee foamer.
Yeah. Okay.
I did
Sold.
promise her a coffee
Okay.
foamer.
Deal.
So, and also, you are a trained Scientology counselor, which we call auditor, which I know many people that you have consoled,
Yes,
that
helped.
are very happy. You've helped them. Thank you for that.
Oh my
and
gosh.
welcome to the show. D-Nice.
Bam.
Okay.
I do a lot of volunteer minister work as well.
Oh, good.
And our church has done so much good for the community. Like, it's tough to help. It's tough when you have like a natural disaster. Deep down, people want to help, but you can't let every Tom, Dick, and Harry just like come to the table and help because it can get very disorganized. And the church is so organized, and they've proven time after time. Really, 9/11 just really put the volunteer ministers on the map because of how efficient they were. And since then, like when I went to Katrina, when I went to Haiti, like I'm right there with the Red Cross, and we're going to the front lines, and we're able to bring order, whatever's needed. Like I worked with giving hepatitis C shots, worked with the military, giving them body assists, and they'd come to our tables because they're ached and they're pained and they're disoriented. And
For someone who might not know, can you explain what a body assist kind of does for someone?
Sure.
And we'll put the link. It's Scientology.org/assists. And hold on.
Okay.
And it is
such a good sales guy.
It is I'm telling you, this is miracle work, and I haven't talked about some of the stuff that I've done. I don't know what your experience with it, but like delivering it, you see some miraculous results.
Yes.
You could learn to do it literally in an hour.
Yeah.
And deliver it for successes like you're about to hear. So go ahead.
It's absolutely true. I would there were military people that were flown into New Orleans like straight from overseas, and they were scared, they're nervous, they're trained military, but with everything that they've gone through, they need a little spiritual spa, right? They needed a spiritual spa, and that's, as a volunteer minister, what I can give, and so there are tables, and I would say, put your gun down. Take your boots off, and they just lay. And there is, you've heard of the laying of hands, right? That is not a new ritual. That's not a new philosophy. So Hubbard has taken like what are things that actually work, right? And your body has energy, and doing these assists. One of them, it's called a nerve assist, right? And you just you're help. It's a whole. How would you say?
Procedure.
It's a procedure.
Process.
It's a procedure that helps to relax their body. There's also procedures that you can do to help them kind of get more in present time. Because even though they're there, their body's there, they're still at war in these other countries.
Stuck attention.
That's right. Yeah. And they're not going to be of any service to the people of New Orleans if their attention is still back there. So though it seemed like, what is it that you're doing with these people? The military were so grateful we were there because we provided something that isn't really known about, and it undercuts everything because they know how to hold a gun and they know how to break open a bolt and rescue someone, but they don't know how to get their head in a state where they can truly be efficient. And that's what I got to work one-on-one.
So the reason that I'll tell you, so I was in the Army. So the huge thing that they talk about in training and like at the highest levels, that what you're describing that the volunteer ministers provide in situations like that, it's what they call operational effectiveness. That's the Army buzzword for it. That's all it is. It's the ability to do your job when it's needed. Operational effectiveness. And the spiritual spa provides that, because if somebody's attention is out there,
right,
but they need to do something right here, how effective they're going to be thinking about that, not this.
1,000%.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you. It is, it's a selfish thing as well, because nothing makes you feel more like a superhero than helping someone else, right? It is, when I went to Katrina, when I went to Haiti, that was super, that was just visually much more destructive, right? And I'm going into makeshift hospital rooms, and there are people without arms, people without legs.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm doing there. One of the assists is feel my hands. Thank you. Feel my hands. Thank you. Right. That's the only command, and you're asking the person, can you feel my hands? And they'll say either yes or no, right? And then you go on to another part of their body, feel my. So they're communicating, putting their attention on their body. And I think we're at a state now where people understand that when you're in communication with your body, it does well. There's physical therapy places where there's an app even that a friend of mine has, and the app gets you to think about parts of your body.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you heard of something like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and so. And I just love that L. Ron Hubbard was like, doing this in the 50s.
7 decades ahead of the time,
In the 50s and 60s, like he knew that you as a spirit can control your body, right? Obviously, if you get a cut and you're bleeding, go stitch that thing up, But your attention on that area provides a good 60% of the healing of it.
That's right.
Whereas ignoring it, you're leaving all that up to chance.
Okay, I have a crazy story.
I love crazy.
So, but so I'm a relatively new Scientologist. So actually February 12th, I think, will be 5 years for me since I first
February
walked
12th?
in the org. Yeah.
That's my daughter's birthday.
Oh, is it?
Literally.
Oh my gosh.
And how many years?
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. My daughter's older than that.
I'm becoming veteran at this point. But prior to that, I was looking. I'm like looking for things, like trying different things, whatever. And one thing that I tried that I was like, there's something here, but it's just not quite doing it, was meditation. But I remember the one that I liked the most was a meditation where you close your eyes and you would put your attention on different parts of your body.
Right.
And I always felt like just kind of better after that. And now, knowing what that's actually based off of, it makes I had literally forgotten about that until you just said that, Denise. I forgot that even happened. But yeah, people are catching on.
Totally. And Hubbard has booklets and little courses where it's step by step on how to do it. It doesn't have to do with any chance. It's just it's mathematical, right?
And I want to say also it's non-surgical. Like I just realized when I said like procedure, like you might like procedure might be like, oh, like sorry, no equipment required, no previous experience. It would be good if you knew how to read, but people who do not know how to read have done it by like someone else teaching them.
That's right.
So pretty much you need to like you just want to be able to help somebody. And so there is no drugs, no knives, no sedation, nothing.
The before and afters. When I was in Haiti.
Give me an example. Give me like one story of somebody.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. So there was a girl she had just had her house fall on her, and
oh my God.
And so she had from her mid thigh down was gone. She had her arms, and I went into that tent. And people were a little nervous to go over to her because it was just so devastating. And she was 19, and so I went in, and now I know about just through Scientology that happiness is such a beautiful emotion to enter a room with, right?
Yeah.
And so to go into that room with a smile. Now, also my phone, I had some music on it, right? And so I also know that aesthetics and art is very healing, right? And so I went over to her and smiled. Now, she spoke Haitian, which has got some French in it. I studied a little bit of French in high school, but really it was just a language of affinity. And I went in and I played some Beyonce, right? And I start to dance, and this girl had some moves that she was able to do just laying in a bed like a sheet. And you ever hear the show MASH? Remember the TV show MASH?
Yeah.
Oh God, you're so young.
Sorry.
MASH, guys.
Okay,
come
my
on.
parents watched MASH.
The TV show
I know
MASH.
what that is. Yeah.
So it's like bomb shelter type hospital unit, right? Like it's really just very, very sparse. And she's in there, and I'm just trying to raise her emotional tone level up beyond death and destruction, right? And so she starts dancing and she's moving her shoulders, and I come back later and I help feed her, and I start finding out things that I use something called the ARC triangle, which I'm sure people have talked about who've come here. It stands for affinity, reality, and communication. And when you can find something to communicate about and that the person has affinity with, then the reality comes in. Basic math. So we start talking about singers, and her like you see energy comes into her face. Her eyes start to brighten. And then I go the next day, I get some other physical therapists to come in and to work with her. And then she winds up, out of all the people in there, these physical therapists were allowed to they had 2 slots on their airplane that they could bring back to America. And I worked with this girl and with these physical therapists and used every tool that I knew in Scientology to bring beautiful attention to this girl. That girl made it to, and she shouldn't have. There were so many other people. She was able to get on a plane, come to America, and a year and a half later, they sent me a video of her running down a street in Long Island, New York, because she got prosthetic legs.
Wow.
And she was able to bring her little infant boy with her. And this was a girl who, she didn't even have a tooth, like she didn't know how to brush her teeth. She was 18 years old, and she was already raised in a slum area. And then when the earthquake came, it was so devastating. Like that earthquake, I really saw, in the church we have a lot of organizing tools, right? And there's a great datum of, when something is in a lot of confusion, you have to pick one particle. Just start with one. And I likened the disaster in Haiti to if your desk had tons of paperwork on it, right? Let's say it had a whole year of tax receipts. And then someone came in and poured 10 years of tax receipts all over your desk. What are you going to do? You're just going to move to a different desk. And that's what these Haitians had done, because they were already living in an environment that was a little tough, right? Like cement, cinder block type dwellings. And then all of that got shook and demolished. You know what? I'm just going to go live here on this piece of plastic. I got a sheet over my head. That's good enough. So right? Like to get at that mindset of one thing at a time. Let's just take little baby steps to get these people to, and I'll tell you, there's many, many things happen with that, right? You have a lot of people living in an environment where young girls are sleeping kind of out in the open, right? And you have young boys full of hormones, right? So you don't have a lot of ethics and discipline. You have these human emotions, and I found myself like really just seeing kind of the epitome of where our tools can help. And I really stayed in touch, and I got to help with a shelter, an orphanage that got to be there, where these kids were able to be put in an environment that was safe, that was productive. They kept the whole backyard open for soccer, right? Like just let the children do something, you know? So that's, you know, the volunteer minister's slogan is something can be done. And that's what we would do. You know, I would go in and just bring some joy. I would go from bed to bed to bed and just deliver these assists, bring smiles to their faces. And then the doctors can come in and do their work, right? But you're going to have such a better result when that person spiritually is there and likes themselves, and that energy flows through their body, right? And I think we all know, like, why is it that there are some diseases that doctors can't figure out, right? There's always these things like, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is, you know? And more people are realizing that, oh, the frame of mind, the state of mind that somebody is in is 60, 70% of healing. And I've seen that. I'm 60 years old. I just turned 60 a few months ago, and I'm not on a single medication.
Well done.
You know? Like, I'm not on a thyroid medicine. I take vitamins, you know? I don't even do, like, there's some really great, like, oxygen. I don't even have to do that. I mean, there's so many expensive, really great procedures, you know, cocoon water and magnets and all. I'd love to do them all. I sort of don't have to. Like, literally, I was trying to think of, like, let's see, well, my neck hurts a bit after being on the phone. Maybe I can, you know, like, I'm trying to, like, find some pain so I can take advantage of these expensive modalities, you know? I mean, I do like to do red light mask on my face, you know, but I don't have any aches or pains, and that's 100%. It's 100% from being a Scientologist, right? And the irony is that Scientology is it's an applied philosophy, and it's only called a religion because it deals with the spiritual nature of man. It doesn't address my bicep, you know, although it's a pretty good bicep. You know, you should see my bicep. And I don't work out. I don't work out, you know.
What?
No, I just work. I work. I pick up my own boxes. I wash my own car.
Good job.
I know. I tell people, look, if you don't like your body, and you have a housemaid, then you've got to get a personal trainer. That's just like, if you don't like the way you look, but you've got someone washing your car and cleaning your house, then you got to add
working
a
your
personal
body?
trainer.
Oh, look at that.
What was that?
I said, then who's working your body? Someone's working on your car, someone's working on your house.
That's right. That's right.
Working on your body.
Everything is being done for you. Then also hire someone to help you with your, you know.
Good idea.
That's a good rule.
It is. It is. You know, there's no reason why someone who can afford a few good luxuries then shouldn't get someone to help them with the discipline of their body. And I'm very good with the discipline of my body. You know, it came from maybe being raised by. We could talk about.
No, I want to get there. So I just want to say, you look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Like, 60. That's
60.
You do not
It's
seem
crazy.
that's
and no
unbelievable.
facelift. You know, a little shot of Botox in the forehead. That's it. Every 6 months. That's it. No facelift. No filler.
Really?
Oh my God. No.
But she uses her cream.
No.
And by the way, you can find her on TikTok.
I do facial gua sha. I do not.
Facial gua sha?
Facial gua sha.
So that's really like
What
you do
is
this.
gua sha?
Gua sha is like
Is
a
that with the
kind
jade
of
roller?
Yeah, not a roller.
That they know
The gua
this.
sha is Chinese. My dad is a doctor of Chinese medicine, actually, like official. So anyway, the gua sha is actually a Chinese tool.
I didn't know that.
And it's meant to like take out things in your muscles, right? Yeah. And so it's becoming more and more popular, but
Yes.
But I didn't know,
It's
like
good
you do it
for
in your
whole
face.
body.
That's crazy.
I tell people, I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. And Tom Brady would get his whole body fascia blasted.
Yeah.
Gua sha, fascia blast, it's really doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
The fascia blaster is the tool. that helps to soften the tendon. So you've got your skin, you've got the muscle, but in between, is where
the theory is very
toxins and
similar to like
pathogens-
nervous cysts.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
honestly, like
It's
just saying,
true.
it is
It
actually. If you look
is.
at the theory, you read nervous cysts
yes.
that we've already talked about.
That's right.
It has a similar theory, right? Take out the stuff that's kind of stuck in there.
That's exactly what I tell my Scientologist friends whenever they're like, "What's gouache?" I'm like, "It's a nervous cyst for your face, baby."
makes total
It's that
sense.
movement, that pressure. It gets pathogens flowing and moving, and the benefit of you doing something, right? You being in communication with your body. So it's got multi benefits.
Okay, so the secret of your youth, you're saying you attribute into some degree to Scientology.
Well, kind of in all degrees.
In all degrees. Okay, so explain to me now how did you get in Scientology in the first place and when?
Okay. So my mother, I was born in Long Island, New York, in 1965. And it's so great having a skincare company now, too, not just being an actress, because actresses don't like to say how old they are. But when you have a skincare company, it's kind of a flex.
Yeah.
Totally
Just
is.
saying, right? Right?
100%.
And it's also, it feels so good to be honest and not try and hide and be sketchy, you know?
Yeah.
Right? That gives you the worst wrinkles in the world, is a lie. A lie gives you wrinkles because a lie creates a ridge in energy in the world.
Did you put that on your blog post on your
completely
website? You
right.
should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
lies
in your skincare, in your
create
face skincare.
wrinkles.
Honestly, I feel like that should be like a side
Yeah.
PR
Your trademark.
campaign of your company.
Yeah.
Is like lies create wrinkles. One, it would help a lot of people.
Yes.
Two, you're completely correct. Little lies. Anyways,
Little
I
lies.
could go on a whole thing about lies.
Yeah, yeah.
gosh.
It's you holding that untruth in. And I had listened to
And
a
don't
lecture.
Look, nobody look.
I know, a Hubbard lecture when I was 48 years old. And it was delivered in 1952. It was called the Philadelphia Doctorate. It was called the tapes because they were on cassettes at the time. And he went through that life is made up of three things: flows, ridges, and dispersals. Right? That's what energy is: flows, ridges, and dispersals. Right? Money, it's a flow. Right? It's called currency. It's like a current. It's like energy. A ridge is a crease. It's a piece of something stuck, right? And a dispersal is energy going in ways you don't want, right? And we can find in ourselves that we operate either in a flow with a ridge or with a dispersal, right? And I realized that if I kind of lie about my age, if someone says, "Oh, how old are you?" About 45, and I go, "Yeah," I was like, "Oh, I wasn't. I was 48." But that was a little bit of a dispersal, right? It was like, "Oh, I'm not going to address it," right? As opposed to the truth. The truth is just a flow, like, "Oh, that's sweet. No, I'm 48. What was the big deal, right?"
What's the big deal?
But by just agreeing to, "Oh, I'm 45, that stays with me. It doesn't stay with the person, but it stays with me. And that lecture and the examples that Hubbard gave in that lecture really resonated of like, oh man. So when my 50th birthday came 10 years ago, I made the biggest deal about it on Facebook. I did. It was called 50 Days to 50. Every day I did a video. I did this whole countdown. And I did it because it was important for me to have the 20-year-olds know that 50 should not be feared.
Love
Right?
that. Wow.
And I've had women in their 40s not want to talk about their age, and they're like, well, it's not me, it's the industry, right? The industry, the music industry, the entertainment industry. And I thought, how is the industry going to change their viewpoint unless women start showing what an example of what age can look like, right? And I tell people, I'm 60 and I look 60. Because I look like, how can I look anything but what I look like?
You look like a great 60.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a mind fuck, can I say? It's to say that it's almost like very high level Scientology because you're just being you, right? 60 is this, and when we say, well, you don't look 60, well, what looks 60, and what are we basing that on? There's so many different. It's very
Okay,
unique.
hold on. I want to say this because I want to take a little bit of a mathematical view here, okay? There is a statistic, and I always mess this one up, and I should look at it a bit more, but something like 4 out of 10 grown Americans are on some sort of mind-altering drug or medication.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's a very high percentage.
That's right.
Okay, now as you said, maybe a lie can bring a wrinkle. well, like a methamphetamine will definitely bring a wrinkle. You know what I mean? Like there are some things that will definitely bring you some wrinkles and some bad eyes.
A lie will bring
and a
one,
lot of
meth
stuff.
will bring two.
So what I want to say is like, if you kind of look at the average, right? I always tell this to people when I have some people in a room, I'll do some speeches sometimes, and a lot of times I start like, who like remembers when they were little and they told their mom, you know, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be average. And it's like, obviously nobody does that.
No.
But the truth is, average is just comparing you to a lot of massive people. You go to some random place and you pick 100 people, 1,000 people, and you go like, look, there's some that have less wrinkles, more white hair, more whatever, more. Yeah. But also the smile.
Yeah.
Also the happiness.
That's
because there is an age factor where you kind of the stereotypical like grumpy old man.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you're old, like you should become grumpy. Yeah. Right? And so what happens is the age and the way you look, when it's a physical thing, when it's an emotional thing and a spiritual thing, because there was a song with Frank Sinatra. What is that song?
Oh God, I'm Italian.
The heart, something, I don't know. I have to figure out the song. Maybe I'll forget it. But
like Google that.
Frank Sinatra's song about being young.
The Young at Heart.
Yes, Young at Heart. Okay, okay.
Young
So sorry. Okay.
At
Yeah. Okay, that I know. Frank Sinatra, I know. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Young at Heart. When's the last time you heard like Frank Sinatra when he sang them? Maybe it was already 60 or I don't know how old he was.
No. I think he was like probably in his 40s.
In his 40s? Okay, fine. Well, obviously, fine.
But the
then
point
too,
is that the 40s.
Yeah, 40 back then is more like 60 now.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's an idea, though. It's an idea that the age, there's a body age and then there's a spiritual agreement with the deterioration and the decline.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And so I think when the compliment of like, hey, you don't look 60, it's like, if you kind of let's just go and roll a dice or pick some people on the street and get 100 60-year-olds. And I will tell you, Denise, they don't all look like you.
Okay, all of that to get to that.
But that's
I would say
what I'm
probably
saying.
zero.
Yeah. So that's what it means because it's not comparing to you. You're 60 because your 60 looks 60.
Right.
But if you compare it to some other people 60, Brad's wife. Brad's wife, Ashley's mom, had this game where they would pick. Okay, on the arrest records of people who got busted for drugs.
The mugshots that came out.
The mugshots, they would do a game of like guess the age. And they'll open up a mugshot. We need to make this app. It's still pending. And I'll be like, how old is this person? Be like,
you need to make this into an app.
75. And it's like 18. No, like crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's what people are when they say like you look this age is because there is like the average and if you're taking some sort of substance, you're not going to your body will have effects that bring you down and make you look worse than how you kind of should be. And of course you can look your own age, whatever you want, but like, okay, good. There you go. That was it. That was the end of my message.
Yes.
Okay.
The calm is Denise looks great.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Period.
Periods. Definitely the lack of drugs. You know, and I will say, had it not been Scientology, had I not been raised as a Scientologist,
can we go there? Can we go there?
So my mom, when I'm 4 years old, she is now 21, and she's a Long Island housewife, married, to my dad.
Your mom
she was
had you when
17.
she was 17. Is that right?
Yeah, no. Wow. So she was 22. She had my brother at 17. And she had me at 19.
Wow.
Okay.
Right. So she wanted to get out of the house. She wanted to have her own life. She wanted to be a nun. She was looking for something spiritual, right? Raised very Roman Catholic, lovely, beautiful aesthetics, right? And she was looking for something spiritual, and she wound up, to get out of the house back then, you get married, to the tall, dark, cool, handsome German guy, Mm-hmm. And so now she's living,
Wait, a dark German guy?
Yes.
Not dark skin.
No.
Like
Just
dark features.
Dark features.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I'm like, huh? Okay, fine. Keep going.
The tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah. I got you.
And So she's got, her 2-story house in the suburbs of Bethpage, Long Island, and her main job was to have the perfect bouffant hairdo and her iced scotch, waiting for my dad to come back from his Boilermaker job. Boilermaker, he's a welder, and she had these 2 kids, and she just was kind of spineless. She would cry a lot, and then one day her sister-in-law, my dad's sister, told her, hey, you should come with me and take a communication course in Manhattan. And it was a Scientology course. And the word communication to her back in 1969 was like, no one said the word communication,
Oh, yeah.
And so she went, and it was, an hour and a half subway drive back and forth from Long Island out to Manhattan. And after a month, she had this confidence that she had never had her entire life. Wow. She went to this place where people listened to her. They looked at her like what you guys are doing, right? Who would have thought that this is a commodity that's not very common out in the world? But it really is. Like you guys are hearing me, you're not just in your own head waiting to say something back, I mean, maybe you are, and that's okay, but you're 90% listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that was very rare. And it was certainly very rare in her world and in her upbringing. And so she decided to just buy all of what was called the bridge. Right? She wrote a check for her whole bridge. And the bridge is composed of, you get services delivered to you, right? You get counseling, and you go and you work one-on-one, and you get to find out stuff in your past, and you get to handle that with certain questions that are asked. And then you also get to learn how to deliver that help to someone else, right? And there's a bunch of procedures. So she bought her whole thing, and she came home, and my dad put her against the wall, put his hand around her neck, and she said, go ahead. All you could do is kill me. Like, it was the first time she stood up to my dad. And it wasn't a lot of money at all, right? But she was just not allowed to do anything on her own, right? And so...
Hold on, pause. She said, all you can do is kill me? That's incredible.
Yeah, because she realized...
I'm assuming, was this not the first time, I guess, that had
You know what?
happened?
I don't know of any other physical... Like, he wasn't physically abusive. He didn't hurt her. Like, he wasn't he wasn't pounding. He was psychologically not great,
Yeah.
I mean, I do enjoy that he was tall and thin, and I got, my mom's family were very short, round Italians, but like, I think I got my dad's tall and thin. Thank you to the dad on that side. We actually called him the sperm. That was sort of the nickname after they got, after they got divorced. That's what we refer, because he gave us some good genes, my brother and I.
That doesn't sound very spineless. That nickname.
Oh.
That's fine. Keep it.
But it doesn't. A sperm does not have a sperm. It's very squishy.
Flagella.
Oh, the flagella. So she decides she wants to move to Los Angeles. She wants to be an artist. She wants away from, she just wants to make her own story, right? So we sell our house, and we move with my aunt and uncle in 2 motorhomes, and we head to Los Angeles. And we go to what's called the Celebrity Center, which is a place where artists do Scientology courses, because Hubbard really felt that artists have a very special place in the world, right? You've got your politicians, and they do what they do, and you've got your business people and your entrepreneurs, they do what they do, but artists have their own special place, right? So he created a place called Celebrity Center, and that's where my mom went. She started doing courses. My dad started doing some of them, but my dad, he just couldn't keep his dick out of other people,
Oh, really?
My dad was he was a bit of a swinger. So this is the early 70s. And he was a bit of a swinger, and the church was just not a fan of that. I mean, they loved my dad, and he was cool, and great PR, funny guy. He loved George Carlin. He used to tell he was like the funny jokes, but he did not learn ethics in that way in a marriage. And it's funny because sometimes people would be like, "Oh, did Scientology break up your parents' marriage?" And I'm like, "Yeah, kinda." And the fact that
your mom wasn't cool with being a swinger.
Cool being a swinger.
Yeah.
Right? That makes sense to you.
Well, I mean, it sounds like your dad's decisions really broke up your,
Totally.
Totally.
And
And I mean, here's the thing: like, if a marriage is an agreement at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And so if the agreement is no longer agreeable, due to someone, like, say, becoming more ethical, and they're like, actually, I'm not okay with that behavior. Please stop.
That's right.
And the person doesn't stop.
That's right.
There's only one way that ends if they don't stop. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That would be my personal viewpoint on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
So I mean, there's an interesting thing of like, man, this area is a funny one.
It is.
As he exhales.
So there's a lot of, I feel like this happens more to women than with men.
Yeah.
Probably because men are more prompt to be the aggressor.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of women that are in relationships that might get like beat up physically, get cheated on, and they kind of just stay and like continue that process. And I've talked to a couple. I know, like in Venezuela, I love Venezuela. Venezuela's a great place. I'm from there. It's a beautiful place. There is a lot of cheating generally in the culture. Okay. And I've spoken to some of my mom's friends where, she's been in a relationship with a guy and she just can't leave, like whether the guy beats her or whether he's cheating or whatever. And so then you ask, would it be better of her to not be in that relationship or to be in that relationship?
Yeah.
And I guess that's the first question. Like, should that relationship be broken up? I mean, listen, I'm not going to say yes or no because I don't know every single family, every single scenario, what happens otherwise. And also the fact that people want a game to play. They want to have a role in it.
Yeah.
And salvaging and trying the last thing and trying for 30 years to change one dude, that could be your life's work. And maybe in the end you achieve it. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But I'm not the person to say if that's a good relationship or not.
Right.
But I could say, like, if that person wants help to be out of there, then I think they deserve to have that help. And if they feel like being in there, then they can also be in there. Like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah. Well, I have experience with both sides of those. And the fact that my mom replaced the promiscuity habits of my dad with Scientology tools made her endlessly happy, because she was able to learn how to put her own lamps in, and she was able to learn how to, she worked for General Motors after that, right? And we called her, she was Rosie the Riveter. She worked 2 different jobs and then also did courses in Scientology. So she was constantly working to still provide a beautiful living, because my dad he did child support for maybe the first 6 months. And then that was it, And so she had my brother and I, and we were, at this point, we were like 8 and 10. And he wound up moving back to New York, and she stayed in LA with my brother and I. And it was just better for her to not have his energy around, because he put her down. She like, I remember she had this boyfriend, and she didn't tell me about this until like I was deep into my 20s. And maybe I was like 28, and so she told me that she had this boyfriend, and she goes, Niecy, I was 38 years old when I felt like it was the first time someone made love to me.
Jeez.
So it's like with my dad and her, it was just sex. There wasn't that love there, because I have the most amazing relationship because of how she raised me.
Yeah.
So hearing that, it was like, but she learned, right? She did get it. Some people never get it, they never find that. And so going back, so now we're 8 and 10, and we're living in Van Nuys, California, and she's working a million jobs while doing her courses. And I would sometimes go on the weekend, and I would do a little communication course or a little course to learn about the ARC triangle. One of those courses, when I was 12, there was a little practical that you do, and near the church was an old age facility, and I got to go, and it was just talk to an old person that you don't know. And when you're 12, that could be kind of scary, right? And
Yeah.
I'm in this old age facility, and there are people like, like it's like a horror film, right? And I'm 12, and it's smelly. It just smells like pee-pees. And but I went in as like, I was so excited because I was doing like a grown-up course,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
because
yeah.
they didn't have like
Yeah.
kids courses back then,
Yeah.
right? This is the late 70s. And so all the grown-ups had to do the same thing, right? When you get to a certain point in the course, you have to go, not specifically to an old age place, but just some place where you communicate with a stranger. And so I was in the, and I'll tell you, it completely changed my viewpoint of like going into hospitals, seeing people who are ill, because it can be a bit of it's tough to confront someone sick in a hospital bed,
Yeah.
right? And you could get a little prejudice of like, oh, they're not there, they don't know, you know? And then when you're forced to actually go, hi, my name's Denise, how are you doing? Can I touch your arm? Oh my gosh, you're so warm. You can warm me up. And then you see them smile, right? And then you're like, I made him smile. Then all of a sudden you own that relationship, right? It becomes yours. And now they might as well be your grandpa, right? But you had to use the tools from that little communication course, you know? I mean, it was just all sort of laid out there to get past my own little fears. It wasn't that I wasn't nervous. I was nervous. But I just did what I had to on the course. And at the end of it, I was like, oh, yeah, it's someone's grandpa. He's not feeling too well, you know. Oh, he farted. It stinks, but who cares? You know, like you really learn to confront anything, right? And I think in many professions, obviously nurses have to go through that. But what a great gift for everybody, right? I was a waitress. That's how I met my husband, right? I was such a great waitress because I had all these communication skills, right? You know, in Scientology, you even learn that when someone is not well fed, it can affect them emotionally, right?
Yeah.
And so as a waitress, you know, like
Let me bring in the food right now.
That's right. Like you, at the very least, you have compassion for their asshole attitude.
Yeah.
At the very least, right? And having compassion, man, that's a game changer, right? So here I am, this teenager, knowing these tools about human nature and why people do what they do. And it's like, oh, it's this magic wand I have. It doesn't mean that
I was going to ask, did you feel like as a teenager it was a bit of a cheat code in life to have that?
1,000%. Yeah, I mean, I will say I have pretended I was smoking pot. I've pretended I was high on cocaine. I've pretended I drank a half a glass of wine when I spilt it in the plant. I did not. I've never done any of those drugs, but I had to pretend so that the group of teenagers and college kids that I was around wouldn't feel so uncomfortable being around me. Like, how weird is that? Now, as a grown-up, and when I got into my 30s, I didn't have to do that, right? And I could speak and I could be like, no, that's fine. You know, I don't even like to say that's fine for you because I think saying that is a little bit, that's fine for you. You know, I don't like to say that.
A little haughty.
It is. It's a little haughty, you know? But I just...
So but you said, so you've never had a wine?
I've had some wine,
Okay,
but maybe once a year, literally one glass of wine a year, and it's usually peer pressure.
Is it at least expensive wine?
I don't know what the fuck it is.
I
All I know is after I
man.
drink it, I'm like,
Okay.
like literally
Yeah,
one
yeah,
glass of wine,
Yeah.
you know, and that was my thing too. When I was 18, 19, I was a makeup artist. I had a job as a makeup artist. And I remembered women would sit down in my chair and they'd be like, oh, I can't be myself until I've had my coffee and my cigarette. And I always thought, oh, I don't want to have to be like that. I drink coffee now, but I didn't drink coffee until I was in my late 30s. And I've never smoked cigarettes. And just as a Scientologist, I learned that so many misemotions that somebody is feeling can be handled from something that you can fix and not something that you have to take or drink, right? And my mom really, she was an example of that, you know? And again, it's not that if I had a fever, I didn't take baby aspirin or whatever you take for a fever, you know?
Yeah.
You know, an antibiotic if you get like strep, right? Like that's...
You're saying that you would take these things?
Yes,
Sorry,
yes,
okay.
totally.
Yeah.
But so very little. And it was really so much about what's going on in your life, what kind of stress is happening that cold has come upon you, right? There's even things in Scientology.
And who in your life?
And who in your life? If you accidents and illnesses, I did a course where I learned how much having accidents in life and illnesses are also caused by things that you're doing that maybe aren't super ethical, and people that you're around that you're letting affect you. It's not that you're going to go around changing everybody and you go to jail and you go to jail and you're good. My life is good. They're all gone. Right? That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to not let that noise affect you. And yes, then you get to a point where you can start to help those people too. But you got to get that oxygen mask on first. And those tools I got at such an early age. And like I remember I came home one day from school and I was 14 and I crashed on my bicycle and my leg was all bloody, and I came home and I'd have to bring my bike in, and my mom's like, what? And I'm like, Mom, it's okay. I already know what I did to pull it in, Mom. I know. I started to cheat on the exam. Like literally. I know what I did. And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna apologize for my friend because she wanted to cheat on my exam, but then I kind of outed her to the teacher. But then but I did it in a mean way, and then I felt bad about it when I was driving, and then I crashed.
Wow.
Right? So accidents can happen, but how great is it that you are in control of that? Right? Like imagine if you couldn't control any of that. And it's also why auditing works, and auditing is the counseling. And you go with a trained person, and you hold these cans, which is connected to a machine called an e-meter, which has about the electricity of a watch battery, right? It's nothing. It's like a lie detector test. But it reads your energy. Right? And I remembered when I was 17, I backpacked through Europe and I went to Italy and I went to the Vatican, and I was so excited to do a confessional. I'd never done that before, right?
Wow.
And it's just such a beautiful tradition, you know? And I went in and I said something, whatever I said to the priest. And then I got out and then I thought, oh my God, I didn't tell him everything. And I felt like, oh gosh, I got away with something, right? And as a Scientologist, when I've done auditing, I've had to get off all the details of something. And when you get off all the details, what happens is you get a reaction on the needle where it's called a floating needle, because you've gotten it all off. And when you don't communicate everything, your energy is like that, right? And
You're holding it in.
You're holding it in.
Yeah.
And again, it's that lie, it's that wrinkle, it's that ridge. So I don't know how I got on that.
Well, I just want to.
It's okay. That's amazing.
It's a great. So it's very cool about the Vatican. That was a very cool story. I want to mention on the e-meter. It's what's incredible is how it's all designed for you, right?
Yes.
So.
That's what I was going to say. Wait, no, I love your voice and I want to hear you talk. That you can go into that auditing, you go in and you have that counseling, and you're able to address your own garbage, your own baggage. And when you leave and you go back to your husband, you go back to your mother-in-law, all of a sudden they don't bother you. It's like they got handled to a degree, right? And that is the crazy magic, and it makes sense because you're not always going to bring all your in-laws into the room with you. You're not going to bring all of your coworkers into the room, but it's proof that you actually can be responsible for what happens in your life and what happens to you. And that's why, as a kid growing up, when I would have these accidents or illnesses, it wasn't always like, well, he was sick and sneezed on me. All right, so maybe that contributed to some of it. But how come there's times you've been sneezed on a load and you didn't get sick?
Nothing happened. Yep.
Right? Why is it that you've driven through that driveway and went up and took a wheelie and you were fine? What was it about the time that it wasn't? And it's just so great to look at because you can map that out and you can predict it.
Yeah, and I want to say something before.
No, you go.
I want to say if the idea that what you do, this may sound potentially unreal to some people who are listening, right? Because there's no, not in a bad way. No, it's not. It's not because it's not real. I'm saying because there's a lot of propaganda in the world saying, hey, you're not responsible for anything. Everything bad in your life, someone else did to you.
I know.
And I will sell you this pill to make you feel better. It's a lot, there's always something at the end of it. But if you could just consider for a second the potential possibility, just as a mind experiment,
Preach.
to think, hey, what if it was actually something that you did that made you crash your bike? What if it's something that you did that made you get sick?
Or maybe that you didn't do, right?
More importantly,
yes,
that's
right.
actually
Yeah,
the majority.
That
is the majority, and people miss that. People
Yeah.
miss that, including some of our own members.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but I
Yeah.
would say
We're constantly
man,
having to relearn that.
what you don't do is
don't
the
do nothing.
biggest.
Don't do nothing.
Thank you.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Wow, good job.
So,
good job. She's hired.
Man, I have to say that is the biggest thing that people don't see, and people miss it so much.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's so easy to blame. I do think, Brad, what you started on this whole this monologue over here. That was brilliant, because what if it was you? What if you actually had the power to change yourself, your family, your spouse, your children, your company? What if the reason you're not,
Or your lack of company.
or your lack of company, what if the reason that your sales aren't better this year than last year is not the economy or the tariffs or the last government or your next door competitor neighbor or the fact that I don't know, you have some disorder that came out of a book that was voted on? Like what if it wasn't these things? And what if you could do something about it? And if that were true, would it not be helpful to take a moment and look and analyze and take a second to see what occurred in an auditing session?
Well,
I have a quote from
Yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard on my desk, and it's one of my favorite ones, and it's all the happiness you ever need lies in you. And,
So true.
I'll put a quote. I'll put a link to that below.
Yeah.
That is in Lover Greatness. No. Is it possible to be happy? And you can actually listen to that. Yes, it's in New Something Life, but
New Something
it's Is It Possible to Be Happy? And that I listened to this in Sunday service about a few weeks ago. Do you know how that lecture was given? By the way, you could listen to LRH saying that himself.
Oh my gosh, I want to hear
Is It Possible to Be Happy? It's on Scientology TV. The link will be below.
Okay.
You can
It's
listen
in
to
his
him.
own
It was a
voice.
radio. No, it's a different thing. I'll put the link there.
He was such an OG, guys, by the way, the OG of self-help.
This guy did that on a radio talk show. And I will tell you this, I heard from Tracy, who's delivering Sunday services recently at Flag. And there was a time in a newspaper, and this is all, again, I heard this at a Sunday service. I can't show you a link, but you can ask Tracy if you really want to, find out this. But L. Ron Hubbard was in, I want to say, Arizona, I think it was.
This sounds right.
Okay, it was in Arizona. And there was
The 50s
a
or the
problem
60s, right? Around
somewhere
1950s,
around there, yeah.
1960s.
And there was an article that came out in the newspaper, and it was an ad, and it said, "For anyone who can produce and prove a miracle, we will give you $5,000." And it was by some church group, some church who had basically said that no one can produce miracles except them.
Okay.
They are the only miracles, and if miracles do not exist otherwise. And what happened is L. Ron Hubbard had a friend of his, an auditor, right, who maybe had trained or was one of the churches, and he went and he cured someone's something. I forgot what the cure was, and again, we're going to be on YouTube and don't want to be censored, but some physical impairment that was an issue, and I won't describe it exactly, but whatever it was.
Good.
And this auditor went and helped this person for 3 or 4 hours, and it was fully cured. It was gone. It was repaired. And so then he put the evidence of it, put it together, and sent it over to the church.
Yeah.
And said, "Give me my $5,000." The church wrote back and said, "That is not a miracle." Something like that.
Sure.
And so L. Ron Hubbard, he basically, from what I heard, was like, well, we should go and let's do something about it. Let's go and... there was a whole, kind of an uproar in the community about this miracle, no miracles, you can't do miracles. And is it possible to be happy? Was his public response of miracles do exist.
No.
And they happen all the time, every day. They're possible. They happen. And please take a second, go to that link, listen to this talk on that time frame. He is showing people and telling people it is possible to produce a miracle. They happen all the time.
Yes.
And believe again. Believe in change and believe in miracles. And that is the framework of this radio show that he gave at that time.
Wow.
So beautiful. I mean, we should end this podcast right there, but I have more to talk about. But that's gorgeous. And that's, when you said like miracles can happen and they happen every day, as someone who's been raised in Scientology, I take it for granted.
Yeah.
Right? I don't, yes, I did get to see an unhappy mother-father situation. I wasn't raised with a dad at the dinner table and how you doing, daughter? And I was raised in a very different kind of broken home. I was raised in a broken home. And next month I will be happily married for 38 freaking years.
Wow. Amazing.
38, which ironically, I always like to say, well, it's more like 25 years because I think the number 25 is super cool. And I'm like, 38, that's kind of boring. Like, in 2 years, it'll be 40. Like 38 doesn't seem like, to me, when I had my 25th wedding anniversary, like that seemed like 25 years. Now it's just 38.
38's a long freaking time.
It's a long time.
I'm 32 years old.
Oh my God.
So 38's a long time.
Every time I hear it, I'm like, this guy's a baby. I always forget. Okay, so
He's a baby. It's the beard, and his confidence.
Disguises it.
And
Thank
he's
you.
a good golfer too, right?
No, I'm terrible.
Okay, all right. But isn't all
I didn't say that on the podcast with
No,
Ferdy?
I didn't catch that.
Didn't bring it up.
Okay.
But now that you exposed me. Yeah.
Now he has to take away his wrinkle. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
So I came, and it's something that I really, when I talk to, I'll do seminars, right? Sometimes that like volunteer or that the church will do, like marriage type seminars. And my husband and I, we love to talk about that because, I came from a broken home to a degree, but I didn't have to inherit that. And that's such a great philosophy in Scientology, right? That you don't have to inherit. My dad loved his cocktails, right? My mom had to have the bouffant and the cocktail, and I don't drink at all. Like she didn't drink around us, and it wasn't ever promoted as something fun to do or something elegant or romantic. She smoked cigarettes. That was it. And I hated the smell, so I've never smoked cigarettes. I never felt I needed something to be cool. The only thing I did do in high school was I would wear thermal underwear to try and make my butt look bigger. Because I was very skinny. I've always been very skinny.
But how does thermal underwear? Like I don't get it.
You know what? I was like ahead of my time. Now they make the butt. I just wanted to look less skinny. So silly. But I realized, and I used to pretend to like be stoned because all the stoner boys were so cute, and I didn't.
It happens the other way around, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Oh yeah, the stoner boys are cute. But I was afraid of being stoned. I wasn't going to do that. And to open up more. My brother got into marijuana. And my brother got into marijuana when he was like 13, and he would hide his little bongs under the bed. And I remembered seeing them, and I'm like, what are those, Stephen? Oh, I'm just holding them for my friend. His friend Rob Fish. He had a friend named Rob Fish. Names you never forget. And so as he, and my brother would get like D's and I would get A's. He would be happy if he got a C. I would cry if I got a B+. So we were very different. And he was super creative. He used to make Super 8 films, and he would do like Bionic Man films, and he would make his own little dynamite and blood packs and put blood pack in a little Ziploc in their mouth, and then make little dynamite and put it on a rubber pack and then tape it to the inside of the shirt. And then you put a white T-shirt on. Of course, every victim had to wear a white T-shirt. So when he would detonate it from the wire, it would explode, and then the person would bite the blood pack in the mouth, and it would squirt. And he did these great sniper movies, and everyone in the apartment wanted to be in Steven's sniper films. He was like 15, 16, and around 16. Oh yeah, he was so creative. And then
if only YouTube was around at that time, this guy would have been. I mean,
Yeah.
totally.
Sorry, keep going.
No.
Do the kids of today have more opportunity than yesterday?
Yeah, and he took when he was 14. One of the scenes he did the Bionic Man because that movie had come out, or that TV show, and he took the FM AM radio. When you open it up, you see all the motherboard, and he split his jeans and put it inside, and then he filmed him jumping into a dumpster, right? Because you can always put boxes, and so he had his buddy film him going in, and then he reversed the negative, so he jumps out. So it looks like he's jumping onto the roof, and then he has someone film his pant leg as though he ripped, and you're seeing the electronics, and he put a sparkler that you save, because I don't know, kids always had sparklers and firecrackers all year round in Los Angeles, and that sparkler is going. And anyway, he was super genius, but the drugs just started to make him more resentful of the Hollywood scene. He'd be like, oh, like they're too cool, and they're like and I wanted to be an actress, right? And I would do little commercial auditions, and he would just sort of make fun of all that. And it was an interesting thing, because then as I got older and I did more Scientology training, one of the things is how people can minimize and nullify something. And you have to do that to survive. It's not it's very low on the survival scale, but it's what you do. You nullify and make less of something, and that none of that has changed. There was no social media then, and Hubbard knew that mechanism of the human mind, and you see it right and left on TikTok, on social media. People have platforms, and all they do is nullify other people. And so when people say, "Oh, social media is bad," it's not the social media. You're just seeing the reactive mind, and you're seeing it in mass out there, right? There's a light shined on it, but people aren't any different. They're just as great, but the reactive mind is just as asshole as it's always been,
True.
And so I saw my brother through the drugs start to go lower and lower with his own self-confidence. And then my mother and he didn't reach to do courses anymore, right? And he just kept getting lower. And so he went to live with my dad. And so it was just me and my mom. And unfortunately, my dad just couldn't wrangle that. And he's not with us anymore,
Wow.
and he didn't have any kids. He didn't have a girlfriend, but at 40, he just went. So I never did marijuana even, because I saw him and I saw the group of friends. I saw that, the grades, and whatever. I mean, it is what it is for some people, but I just know my journey. And
Let's just pick, like, marijuana or Scientology. Just pick one. Just go one or the other. You know what I mean? Just go. Like, you're gonna either have this at 60, or it's like just that's your choice. Okay, you just don't.
Like, I'm a lot of fun. That was all that I wanted to say, is I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. Like, I'll dance on the table.
Separating drugs and fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Drugs and alcohol doesn't mean you're not fun. And I'm super fun. I'll actually stay awake the whole night. I used to drive everybody home, like in high school when the dudes would play quarters. I was the one that was the designated driver. I remembered all the good jokes. I mean, to me, being clean was so much more fun. I woke up ready to, I just maximized my time in life because I never had these hangover moments. And the one or two times I did have a boyfriend. Look, I'm just giving you my dirt. But I've given my dirt, but just not on tape. I had a boyfriend when I was 17 because I'd never gotten drunk, and he's like, "I want you. You've just got to experience this, right?" So we did quarters. Boom, 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 boom. Oh God. And like, that's a great picture. So I'm totally like not in control, right? Whatever it was, scotch or something. We go down into like his little basement bedroom area, and we're watching Mad Max, right, with Mel Gibson. And then his friend comes over, and I am so drunk, and my boyfriend starts to kiss me. Then the other boy starts to kiss me. And now there's this whole sort of trio kissing going on. And then I just went and I just started crying. And then they just stopped. And I was like, "I'm sorry. This booze." And they're like, "It's okay. We're sorry." And then we just continued watching the movie. But I realized at that time, I'm like, oh, booze isn't good for me.
Yeah.
I don't need it. You know, like it changed me. Yes, I'm a loving, touchy-feely person.
No, but if that would have happened in 2025,
Well,
that would have been a different story, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying that the moral codes of two dudes, they could have chosen not to stop. When
Right.
you get two dudes in you.
that's right.
I'm just saying,
That's
and,
right.
and like, and I've heard, there's stories of people that you know that it's happened to.
Yeah, it can get violent.
And I'm just saying back like
Yeah.
what is that 19 what was that
80. That was 84.
1994. People had more morals than I don't know. I
know.
just that is the case
Because you weren't looking at so
Yeah.
much other stimulation.
yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
you could go the entire day and never see a woman's cleavage. Now you've seen 7 asses by the time you know you've checked the morning email.
Before you even had coffee in the morning.
That's right. Who's booty shop? Like there's just a lot of electrification
Yeah.
on that that relationship world. Like there's very few people saying you deserve to be a great wife and be loyal and awesome to your husband. You deserve to look hot for your husband.
Yeah.
What they're saying is you deserve attention. You deserve
Yeah.
a little fling, right? There was that whole something Madison or there was a whole like website thing, and it was like about having affairs because you deserve it.
in LA. I remember there was a big billboard that said like I don't want to say
Yeah.
it, but it's like about having affairs. They're just like
That's
having an affair.
right. And
Okay.
you know there's TVs, movies, anything that they're going to glorify more about having that affair, having that extramarital. Is your man not giving you what you need? Well, try this. As opposed to, is your man not giving you what you need? Well, let me help you to like make him feel better about himself, and then maybe like let's improve that.
Yep.
You know, and that's so much my life. And I will say that I oh my God, I never even my whole story is how I so I met my husband when I was 20 and I was a waitress in Sherman Oaks, California, 50s diner, and he would come in and he had his long hair and he was a rocker dude, and I was actually living with another guy that I didn't love. It was just sort of like to get out of the house, a little bit like my mom. And but this guy would come in and he was just so nice, and he'd come in with his friend, and I was very attracted to him. The other guy was a little more of like a roommate situation, right? And we would and then one day he the other boy had gone out of town, but I went on a date with Michael. And because the other guy was, like I said, was more of a friend, and I just it was at his house. He had no furniture, one guitar, one keyboard, and a giant blow-up Gumby. And I still liked him.
The blow gummy was his bed or a couch or what was that?
It was just a piece of decor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like a 7-foot
Oh
blow-up
my
Gumby.
God, that's so funny.
And he had a fish tank, and instead of fish, he had paper fish that were cut out hanging from threads.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, okay, he's got a sense of humor. I
That
love a
is
sense of
hilarious.
humor,
Yeah.
right? That is like the biggest crime in life is to not have a sense of humor. If you
Yeah.
don't make me laugh, And so we start to look through his yearbook, right? I'm 20 at the time. He's 22. He had just moved out here from Boston area. It's the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl and they're playing this weekend. Let's just hope that I don't look like an idiot when people are looking at this video.
We'll see.
Okay. So I'm looking at his yearbook and I'm seeing what people are writing, and they're like, "Thank you so much for helping me with my math test. Oh my God, you were the greatest soccer player. Hey, you were one wild and funny dude." And I'm like, this guy's funny, he's smart, and he's athletic. And it was so cool. Like, again, as a Scientologist, these are all clues. These are ways you can you can look at what somebody's life is like. You know, what is, and I'm looking and I'm reading this and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting a deeper insight into who this dude is, who I just knew, you know, that he liked a Monte Cristo and a black and white shake. And so so he's got his guitar and I'm like, could you play me a song? And he starts to sing Starry, Starry Night. And he's and I'm sitting on the ground because, again, there's no furniture. He had one director's chair with the arms down, so I'm kneeling down. I'm looking up at him, and I just put my hands on the guitar, stopped him from strumming, and I just raped him right there. You know, I'm Italian.
The guitar is
like,
smart.
the
Hey,
guitar,
you know what I mean?
the
I bet
guitar.
you the second he picked up that guitar for the first time, he was dreaming of that moment.
Oh, he still dreams of
Yeah.
that moment. 40 years later,
Yeah.
he hasn't forgotten a single breath of that moment. A single breath of that moment. And but actually, just prior to that, when we were chatting, and he said to me, he said, "What's different about you?" Like, he literally said that.
Wow.
What's different about you? And I, because I was asking him a lot of questions, you know, I was really interested in him, and I was asking him about. It turned out he had taken sign language too, which I thought was so great, because to do sign language, you need to communicate. You got to look at someone in the
Yes.
eyes, right? There's
good point.
right. It
Wow.
was a very Scientological skill. If you and he, there's nobody in his family that that he needed that skill for, but his sign language, he took it like, because he needed an elective. It was just but his sign language teacher wrote the most beautiful thing about his
wow.
ability to communicate, and that if he wanted to take this skill as a translator, how well he would do. And again, from what I know of how important communication is, I'm like, that's a sexy ass skill, you know?
Yeah.
Like, more than, the quarterback. I'm like, sign language. But it seems so odd, but you could see communication's really at the bottom of it all, you know? And so these questions I'm asking him, and he goes, why are you you're so different? I've just never met anyone so young. And I said, have you ever heard of Scientology? And he hadn't. And this was in we got married in 1989. So this was in 1987. And he said, no. And I said, have you ever heard of Dianetics? And he said, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So I basically just let him know, and I've been raised with this philosophy. And I said, look, it's a non-denominational philosophy. You know, you can be Catholic, Jewish, you could be any religion. It just allows you to be the best of whatever your religious beliefs are. And it's called a church because a church, just per definition, is a place where people congregate with a common goal. That's it, you know? And Hubbard was he was really great with words, you know? And, you know, even the words like, he'll call the word thetan, right? The thetan is another word for spirit. And Hubbard came up with that word because also sometimes the word spirit in history has a lot of darkness created with it, right? So people are like, I'm not into spiritualism. They're into spiritualism, but the word has become so clouded and so much punishment and pain that it equates with like, not for me.
Yeah.
Right? But so that's why the word
and
thetan,
also
Even
your
soul.
spirit. Also your spirit. It's your spirit, and you watch your spirit go somewhere.
Yeah.
right.
So there's also right and thane. It's not you don't have a thane. You are the thane.
That's right. And
Or
you're
say
right.
that's it.
Soul.
And then
Damn
soul,
your soul be damned, you know? So you may not hear the word soul a whole lot in Scientology, but it's all about you, your soul, you know? But he just chose the word thetan because he wanted something different so that it wouldn't, as he says, re-stimulate to make someone think of another philosophy, right? Because this philosophy is so pure, and it's very unique, and it's very it makes you very right.
Yeah.
And so he had heard of Dianetics, and but he hadn't told me until maybe 10 years after we were married that that he had gone that following week to a library and he bought the book New Slant on Life. Yeah.
Wow.
And I wound up doing something in the church. I did a little counseling with someone in the church to make the decision to stop being with the guy that I was with, because I didn't love that guy. He loved me, but I didn't feel the same. And someone at the church just showed me some things so that I could really break that off, but very responsibly, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
That's beautiful.
There are these little ethics conditions, it's called, right? And I remembered
Because now you're with both the dudes. That was the issue.
it was just that one crossover day, and then
One day. Okay, good.
That one day, and I told Michael, I told him, I said, "Here's the deal." I said, "You know this guy Gordy." I said, "I can't see you anymore until I handle that."
Right.
And he thought that was like, he loved that, you know? And So I did some counseling in the church, and one of the things is you make up the damage. Right now, again, these are ethics conditions that Hubbard came up with in the 50s and 60s. So this is like the OG of creating greatness and light for yourself, right? But you have to do something. You can't just think things,
Correct.
right? Like if you can't just go, I'm going to be a good person. It's like, that's great. Now, what are you doing to make up because you f- me over? Let's just see a little proof, just a little. It's a little suffer, a little sweating, right? And so I talked with the guy that I was with, and he was a musician, and he felt a little crushed. And so he but he was also a Scientologist, and he's like, and I'm like, tell me something. Can I get you something? I want to get you something. I want you to feel creative. And so it was a 4-track recorder, right? So then I go and I call Michael, and I'm like, dude, you know, and because he worked in the music industry, he was moved out here to work for Korg and Marshall, and I'm like, do you know where I could get? Because at the time there wasn't like internet, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, do you know where I can get a 4-track recorder? And he's like, yeah. Anyway, he gets that. I give it. We start our relationship. Cut to, we've been married about 5 years, and we're at a dinner party, and people are like, how did you meet? And I start to tell this story, and my husband cuts in, and he's like, he goes, I just had to get a 4-track recorder to him, and I got the girl. I love this religion. And I never even saw it that way.
That is
because
so
he didn't,
funny.
like, I was so in it, right? And
yeah.
he's like an outside. That's his first experience with Scientology, was that he brought a 4-track recorder for the old boyfriend, and he gets the girl,
Wow.
Now, obviously, it's not as simple as that, right? But it's all the agreements that go with it. It could seem that silly and simple, but none of it works unless all the parties are really doing the work, And that's it's just one little token of showing that you care. Any kind, whatever it is, it could have been, I want you to get me a giant white piece of paper and put one tiny little pink heart on it. Fuck, whatever it is, it show you putting that work into it is energy in that direction of whatever you want to achieve. And so we got married. It was super fun. I'm an actress. I'm doing films. I'm doing TV shows. It's now 1991, and I'm on a film set. And I'm out in the desert, and I'm working with a super handsome leading man, and he starts to get very flirty with me, and just like, and anyway, I kind of give in a bit, right? And it's like life keeps throwing you different scenarios. You learn something, you get the data, and then you go out and life kicks you in the face, and you're like, oh, that's where I have to use this piece of data, right?
Yeah.
As a business person, that happens. As a spouse, as a parent, right? You get these tools, but to use it, you kind of, unfortunately, need that situation to happen, right?
That's wow.
Right?
Totally true.
So here I've got this scenario, and it was so electrifying, and I gave in, and I return home very quiet about it, just very quiet. And just kind of keep doing but I feel a bit of a veil with my best friend, right? And I lose a little bit of weight. I don't need to lose weight. And about a month and a half went by, and I'll tell you, in that month and a half, and we'd been married a year now, we probably never fought as much as we had in that month and a half. And I don't mean like, you're an ass,
No,
but these
arguments.
little bicker things. And I know enough about what I've done from 12 years old, dragging the bicycle, and I know what I did, Mom, to pull this in, right? That I knew how hard I was withholding truth and honesty and goodness. I was working so hard to keep myself bad, right? That I couldn't do it anymore. And what were you going to say?
I was going to say to keep yourself bad. Yeah.
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 And I remembered it was a Sunday morning, and we're laying in bed, and I'm just looking at him, and he's looking at, it was before kids where you could just kind of sleep in. And I said, I have something bad I have to tell you. He's like, what? And I'm like, it's really bad. And he said, what? And I told him, like, And he just got out of the bed and he stood at the foot of the bed and he was just like, you know, and he was like, I'm white and I'm like the worst feeling ever. And then that night I went to the Celebrity Center Church, and at the time it was like $500. I paid for marriage counseling. Now, marriage counseling is one of the only services that both of you are on that meter interchangeably with a counselor. It's the only one, and it's magic. It's the miracle. It's you could buy $7 million worth of houses if that church gave that 2,000. What was it? What did they offer if you could prove a miracle?
Oh yeah, $5,000 bucks. Yeah.
$5,000. You know, it's a miracle. So I get him to go, and we sit there, and I have to say, you basically talk about what have you done and what have you withheld. What have you done and what have you withheld? And each person goes until that needle floats, right? Now, it doesn't mean that just because it floats, you got away with everything, because there's always more, right? Yeah. And I had to give every little detail of what I had done. Like, I pretended to be a casting director, like stupid, like embarrassing, right? But I knew by withholding all of that, by withholding any of it, it's going to jeopardize what I have with this man next to me that I have made an agreement with, and who's a great ass dude, right? Like that's the one. Granted, I'm going to say this, and it may sound sort of rude. I feel that there are many Mr. and Mrs. Rights for people on this planet, you know, like, but when you make that commitment, you go all in, right? Now, obviously, if there is something super dark that is just inconsolable and you can't handle, then you get out. But also know that every human, we're loaded with mistakes and problems and weirdness. We just are. God bless us, you know?
Yeah.
But having the tools to make all that work and that patience and that kindness, because you're going to leave that one person and you're going to find, you know, a year or two later, the same bullshit more in the next person, right? So, but some are, you just vibrate on the right plane, and I've got early on lucky. So we do this marriage counseling, and then he gets to get off things he's done because he was a DJ in a nightclub, right? So maybe a girl came over, oh, Michael, could you play this song? Oh, thank you, it's my birthday, can I have a kiss? You know, like, oh, okay, you kissed that girl, and you know, how long did it linger, right? Like the detail that you can't get from maybe other confessional procedures in the world, because that meter will make sure that you are totally honest, right? And if you really want to be a cunty asshole, you maybe can, but that's not Scientology, right? That you're doing it because it's going to work, but you have to do the work, right? Yeah. And it was just so magical that at the end of this, we could not have been better friends. I sat in a room looking at a counselor with my husband next to me, telling just the most embarrassing details of what I did with another frickin' man. And 40 years later, I am still the most trustworthy wife you will ever meet because I went through that. And then, you know, I got to buy him his 4-track recorder. I did. I think I bought him like a Neumann microphone, or, you know, I did the work. I proved my fidelity. And it was so helpful because I went on to do many other love scenes, right? And he could trust me, and I could trust myself. And he sat, I remember him watching, I did a love scene with a guy on a TV show called Silk Stockings. Oh my gosh. And he actually helped me rehearse it because I had to kind of kiss the guy and then say a line and kiss the guy. And so he would rehearse it with me, but he would do things like lick my ear. And I'm like, stop it. Come on. I got to be serious here. You know? And he would like, you know, start to lick my nostril. And I'm like, stop it. He's not going to do that. And then when it aired and he's watching it, he's like, pretty hot, honey. I believed you. And I'm like, thank you. You know, and it was clean because I effed up. I went through a whole course of what it means to be a loyal wife, right? And that kind of commitment. And And it really came into help 3 years after that. I was doing a vampire film for this series called Subspecies. And I'm out in Romania, and it's 1993. And I'd been married for 3 or 4 years. I'd already done this marriage counseling. It really fortified me. And now I'm working for 3 months, and I'm out on the Black Sea. And the makeup artists were like super cute dudes, you know, they were like my age. And at the end of every meal, everyone smoked cigarettes and they talk and they drink booze. And I didn't do either of those things. And so we were out to dinner, and I just wanted to go take a walk along the beach. And one of the makeup artists, he said, "Let me come out with you." And so we're walking, and he takes me and he starts to kiss me. And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa." And he's like, "What?" He goes, "It's such a beautiful full moon." And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "And my husband's going to see that moon too soon." And he's like, "He'll never know." And I'm like, "He will know, because I'll tell him." And he said, and I'm like, "Look, dude." And now I'm thinking, I've got 2 more months to spend with this guy.
Yeah.
And he's one of my makeup artists. And I want to keep this friendship. And when you like kind of cock block a guy or kind of refuse, it can create a little something,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
it's right or wrong, but as a Scientologist who has done training on human emotion and the reactive mind, I know the effect of putting someone's ethics in, but doing it with so much affinity and so much, grant them the beingness of like, all right, I'm kind of a cute girl back then, and it was a very romantic night, you know, but it doesn't mean that you do something to break your moral code, right? And I just felt a bigger picture here that I said to him, I go, you know, granted, we could have a beautiful, sexy night right here on the sand. And I said, but I chose another man many years ago, and I don't want to sacrifice 50, 60 years with my husband for one great night with you. And I said, if I was your wife, truly if I was your wife, would you want some guy making out with me on a beach out of the country? Would you want that? And he went, "You got a lucky husband." I said, "Thank you." And we remained the best of friends for years after that, because I really just addressed him and what he was feeling. And also, I did have to take responsibility for going out by myself with a guy who's got his hormones going, who's single, you know? And to this day, I always have to be aware of that, you know? I mean, all right, so this top maybe is a little, you know, but I'm very aware of that sexual flow. And I feel that sexual flow, especially in this world now, is used in a very irresponsible way.
Yep.
And you know, I had a big film director also like take me into a room and put me up against a wall, right, when I was like six years married. And I was like, oh gosh, you know, I'm married, and you know, I wasn't about to punch him or you know, but because I understood he's in a little bit of a, you know, I think when a man gets like that, I kind of have to treat them like a little bit of like drunk or drug dealer, you know, like there's a lot of hormone going on in there, you know, it's like a woman in menopause. Please be kind to us when your women get there. Be kind, you know, but your body's going through something, you know, and I really, you just have to respect that, because at the end of the day, what is it that you want? Do you want to teach someone a lesson, or do you want to get a beautiful end result where both people come out safe and sane? Right. So I just was like, oh God, I'm flattered, but you know, I am married, and you know, and I was just able to diffuse the guy's, you know, boner, and because we still had a whole day of filming to go on. So that has definitely been, you know, I'm very friendly. I'm very touchy. You know, it's the Italian in me, but I've also had to learn the effect that creates. You know, and I see a lot of women not be responsible for that and just think, oh, I'm being nice, and oh, well, he's the one. I'm like, yeah, but what did you do? You know, it really, and I, you know, that when that Me Too thing came out,
I was literally just thinking about that.
yeah,
Because it's like I know some people the way I know. Fine.
Yeah, it's tougher for you to talk about it. It's easier for me to talk about it.
Yeah.
And when that came out, I actually spoke about it. I didn't type it out, but I had done a Facebook Live back in like 2019. And I told that story, and really it was out of like, look, there's so many ways that you can handle this, and also looking at your own participation in it. Not tons, I'm not saying like, what did you do? It's obviously I'm a woman. I'm on my side, but I do know that that we are responsible for the condition we're in. And I think it's very empowering to know, like, what the did I do to turn him on? Like, actually enjoy that. Look at that. What did you do? Could it have just been like you looked at him? Like, right? Like you've been looked at by a woman in a way that there was a flow. Flows, ridges, dispersals, there's a flow. And the flow could either be, I want you to want me. I want you to think I'm hot, or the flow could be, oh my God, you're so cute.
Yeah.
Flows, it seems so theedy-weedy, but it really starts with that. And I know the difference of when I would walk into a room and make contact with the dudes and the ones that I was feeling, and then going, oh wow, this is gonna create some trouble here. I gotta like blah 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 blah. Friend. And in Scientology, there's something called the dynamics, and there's 8 dynamics. And they're urges to survive in life. They're how you survive. You survive in 8 compartments. It's just really cool. It's very mathematical. One day, I'll teach it to you guys.
Thank you.
They know. It's Scientology 101, the 8 dynamics. And the first dynamic is yourself and what you do for yourself. You brush your teeth, you go jogging, right? You put on your makeup, you eat good food. That's your first dynamic, and you take care of it. But your second dynamic is your family, your husband, your wife, your mom, your kids. And it's also the area of sex, right? It's the procreation and it's creation. So that second dynamic area is very important. And then it goes on to third, fourth. I don't know if you were going to say something.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
No, it's fine. Just I was going to say that thank you for all of your stories and being here.
Okay.
And we appreciate it. And if you want to know more about the dynamics, Scientology.org/dynamics. Okay.
So he knows like every, I just have to tell
the
her,
courses.
He knows like Scientology.org/blah, like all the free courses. He knows all of the URLs by heart.
Yeah.
They'll be like, what's the learning course? Scientology.org/study. Like,
so
he just knows all of them.
Yeah. So anyway, dynamics is a good one. Now, there is a question we ask every one of our guests.
Yes.
And it is, in your own words, what is Scientology?
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, it certainly is a spiritual spa for me, right? It's where I go to feel better about myself. It is a toolbox of life for me. It is life for me. It's never been a separate thing. It's what I lean into whenever I have some noise in my head that makes me feel less about myself. I go to a book, a lecture, a supervisor there to find out how can I feel a little more energized. Yeah, it is my toolbox for happiness.
That's beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've told plenty of stories.
Yeah. No, that's good.
You should
So
take the
good.
short answer because it's the only
Thank
one
you.
I gave short.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you so much for being
Did
here
you
with
guys
us
have
today.
fun?
I
Of
had a
course
great
we
time.
did.
Did you? Okay.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
brilliant.
All right, because we like to help. That's the number one thing in Scientology is, did you help someone? Did you make someone feel good? And I.
If Denise made you laugh,
yes, did I make
please
you laugh?
Or
put
cry.
a comment down or
Please.
cry, right? Or question your entire existence, okay? Any of those things, just put it in the comments and we'll make sure
funny?
Denise sees it, okay?
I just want to know,
And-
did I make you laugh at all?
Yeah, that's good.
It's the greatest gift, right? The biggest sin in life is no
Yeah.
sense of humor.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing, kids.
Thanks, Nisi.